Thank you so much for your response to my brand new comedy special, Shabby Chic, which is out free on YouTube right now. Just go to YouTube, pull up YouTube, search for Shabby Chic comedy special. Chic is spelled CHIC. That must be a French word. Anyway, chic, CHIC, Shabby Chic comedy special. Just search for that. It will come right up. I really can't thank you guys enough for the way you showed up. The views have surpassed my expectations already. It's amazing. And if you would like to help me out, mention it on your social media. I don't care if you only have 70 Instagram followers. That is 70 people that would not otherwise know about it. I don't have famous friends whose podcasts I can hop on and just boom, overnight get 100,000 views to the special. All of my enemies have that. Other comedians have that. I don't have that. Talk amongst yourselves about how I am followed on Instagram by Theo Vaughn, by Bert Kreischer. And yet they follow me.
What?
Yes, they follow me. Chad Daniels. And yeah, I'm never on their podcast. So talk amongst yourselves about how that happened. Oh, also, if anyone knows any serious comedy fans, the big thing in comedy right now is Kill Tony. You've heard, people know about it. If you know any young male comedy fans, they're obsessed with Kill Tony. Yep. So there was a big Netflix poster, the Kill Tony poster that came out when their show was on Netflix, and I realized all but two of the guys on the big iconic Kill Tony Netflix poster, all but two of them follow me on Instagram. So how is it that I have all of these people following me and yet I'm not on these podcasts that would like literally, the Comedy Millions would be here overnight if even half of these people would invite me on their podcast, but it doesn't happen. And that's why you and your 20 friends on Facebook matter. So please be like, hey guys, I liked Jen's comedy special. It's called Shabby Chic. Here's the link to YouTube. Why don't you check it out? That would mean a lot to me. Instagram stories, Facebook stories. Honestly, forget TikTok. TikTok's killing me right now. I don't care if you say anything on TikTok, but Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it these days, it may be on X. The way we get traction there is say it's a conspiracy. Like we've found out what the government is really up to. Find out here, and then I'll get like 10,000 views just from that. So I think it's a good idea. Or be like, this is it, because I have so many Catholic followers. It could be like, this is the real truth about trad Catholics, and then link to my special. Okay, just listen. I'm open to any and all ideas because I don't have famous friends that can send me like 100,000 views overnight. So please promote it. Tell your friends. I would really, really appreciate it. Today, this is a big day for you. This is a big day listening to this podcast because I am going to shift your paradigm in a fundamental way. There is a certain quote unquote truth. It's not really true, but we accept it as truth that is out there in the culture today that most of us accept as true. And I'm going to blow the lid off of that. I'm going to make you see that it's not based in anything. Like it's not based in how humans have traditionally done things. It's not based on how any of the major world religions do things. And it is going to give you a lot of peace and freedom. And do you know what question will be on your mind by the time you finish this episode and you finish liking the video on YouTube and you finish subscribing to my channel? What question is going to be on their mind?
How is this podcast free?
How is it free? How is it free? That's what, you get this life-changing wisdom and yet it's free. It's crazy. We don't know. So here is the paradigm that I'm going to shift for you. Right now in the culture, we accept it as a normal thing that everyone thinks is true. Just kind of like the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. The grass is green. Well, not here in Texas, but the grass is brown. The sky is blue. And the best way to live your life is to do the positive things that you want to do consistently. Every day, day in and day out, you should be a robot. You should do the exact same thing day in and day out. We've touched on this before. You guys know that I hate this entire concept, but I am now going to dedicate an entire episode to freeing you of this absolutely silly idea that it should even be a goal to do the same things every day. And what came to mind was when I've had a few of you message me on Instagram about a few episodes ago. I talked about the idea of blob time, that after you have any major event, a graduation, a business project you launch, just any kind of major milestone in your life, you need a little bit of blob time. You need to not go to the gym the next day. You need to not do your Pilates workout or whatever it is that you guys are into, your morning 6 a.m. hike, the nature walk with the kids. You need to accept that anytime you have to make a big push on anything, whether it's big or small, but especially if it's big, you need some blob time afterwards. You need to not be on your atomic habits for a little while after that. And a few of you messaged me and said, I really like that. Thank you for giving me a term. Thank you for coining the brilliant term blob time. And some of you said it really helped me realize what the problem is when I have some big thing going on, like someone was saying their kid's graduation. I had this big thing, and then I just expected myself to be up and at 'em on my grind, doing my atomic habits the next day. And yeah, that doesn't make sense. I need some time to just absorb the adrenaline hangover. So I got messages like that. And then I've had that with the release of the special Shabby Chic, available right now, free on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel while you're there. It has not even been out a week at this point. And I definitely felt so it came out on a Thursday. That was Thursday evening that we launched it. And I needed more blob time than I thought after that. Joe the next day, Joe said, okay, well, I know we've been pushing off all of these discussions we have to have until after your special is out. So we need to put our heads together and figure out what we're doing about all of these big family difficult things where there's no easy solution. And it was when I almost fell off the chair and just started twitching and drooling and having a complete panic attack. It was when I had that reaction that I realized that we're in the blob time area, and I should have better communicated this to my family. And this was a mistake I made heading into the launch of Shabby Chic, my new comedy special that is out on YouTube. This is a mistake that I made heading into it. I kept telling my family, don't talk to me until after Thursday, June 5th, because the special comes out Thursday, June 5th. And I need more time to dedicate to that. And that has served me well in the past. I felt like a real girl boss, that I set everyone's expectations. I am very busy in the 2 weeks leading up to Thursday, June 5th. You cannot expect a whole lot from me. And I need the whole family to kind of step up and pitch in and take over what I normally do, which admittedly is not a ton, but it's, the few things that I do, I'm going to need some help with. And, But I need to be a true girl boss. I need to take that to the next level and start building in time for the blob time I need afterward. I should have said the special Shabby Chic, available now on YouTube for free. Subscribe to my channel. I should have said the special comes out Thursday, June 5th. So I will be super busy up until that. And then I will be staring at a wall for 48 hours after that, because it really did send me, it was like, I was just sent into the stratosphere of stress when Joe started hitting me with, we got to talk about this. We got to figure out, what are we going to do about this budget thing? And I was just like, I cannot, I do not have the bandwidth for this, because I am in the middle of a massive adrenaline drop, and I need you to stop speaking to me immediately, unless it is what flavor ice cream can I bring you right now? So all that is to say, that got me thinking about how expecting daily consistency from ourselves is inhumane. It is dehumanizing. And I dare say it's an offense against God. Because think about it. I mean, far be it from me to speak for God, but think about it, every major world religion does not assume that day after day after day, you are doing the same things. You're going through the same emotions. You're relating to God in the exact same way that you were the day before. No, every major religion, there are times to think about the darker things in life. There are times to celebrate and express joy. God gave us this pattern, both in terms of religion, the one true faith, Catholicism, and then the others, the A for effort faiths, all the other ones. Look, he gave us a rhythm in the seasons, in winter, summer, spring, or here in Texas, summer, a horrific freeze that shuts down everything for 4 days. Summer. He gave us seasons, times of harvest, times of sowing and seeding and messing around in the dirt. And oh my gosh, my farmer ancestors are rolling over in their grave. Whatever farmers do, he gave us those seasons, and it's not all the same. I do know that. I do know that farmers don't do the same thing month after month after month. And we see that reflected in every major religion as well. So that is the case that I am here to make, that you are offending humanity and God if you are trying to follow some atomic habits program. And the main thing is that I think one of the big things I want to do on this fine podcast that we cannot figure out how it's free is relieve you guys from the guilt in your life that doesn't need to be there. Because what you do is hard. A lot of you are moms. Some of you are dads. I got a few YouTube comments from the dads coming in. So yeah, very diverse listenership here. A lot of you are parents. And those of you who aren't parents, you've got some pretty major stressors going on in your life as well. You're trying to figure things out. You're trying to get employment in a difficult job market. You guys have a lot going on. You're trying to build your community, build your village, and still find a way to pay the bills, have some kind of family connection. And when you live that kind of life, there's enough legitimate stuff to feel bad about and to worry about that you don't need to waste your mental energy on things that don't really matter. But a lot of us do. And I spent many years of my life, many cumulative hours out of my life, feeling guilty and beating myself up about things that, looking back, were a 100% waste of my energy, my time, and therefore my family's time and energy. I was just shadow boxing these phantoms that were just completely made up in my mind. One of them being beating myself up for lack of consistency. We talked last episode about how this is the summer of go for it. It's go for it summer. Try the thing, or that thing you want to accomplish, that thing you've been blocked on, that battle you need to fight, whatever it is, go for it. This is the summer. Let's do it. Let's get it done. And so this is the perfect follow-up, seamless tapestry. This is the perfect follow-up to it, that if you're trying to write that novel or whatever it is you're doing this summer, do not expect perfect consistency from yourself. You're not a robot. You are going to have seasons of feasting and fasting and ups and downs, and the kids are sick or the kids are healthy, or life is meant to go in these kind of waves. And the name of the game is to learn how to ride the waves, not to pretend like you're some robot and the waves don't exist. It's completely bizarre. So what we're taking off your mental plate today is any kind of guilt about not being consistent. It's so crazy that this idea ever came into our minds, that we should just be day after day, 365 days a year, consistent with anything that we're trying to do. It's an insane concept, and I am going to free you from it, because that's what we do here on the Jen Fulwiler Show. Everything you heard was set up. I always set up the topic right at the beginning of the show, and then we really dig into it in the latter part of the show. Towards the end, we come back to this main topic and really, really go in deep with that. So that is the format of this fine program. I am your host, Jen. I am a stand-up comic, best-selling author, and mom of 6. I had 6 babies in 8 years. This podcast is coming to you from Austin, Texas, and it is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That is being a hot girl boss, or hot boy boss, who knows that love and family and community are the foundations of all true success. We publish new episodes every single Wednesday morning, even when it's at the expense of both my and Caitlin's mental health. And what else? The Patreon is how you support me and keep me from quitting in bitter disgust that I don't have the success that other people do, that my enemies do, that people with half of my talent do. The Patreon is how you prevent me from doing that. Patreon.com/this is Jen. And I just so you know, that this is the only podcast you're ever going to listen to where someone is living an actual real life while giving you advice. You can't find another podcast like this where someone's giving you real practical advice while, get ready for this, actually living it. Can you imagine? I was listening to Rich Roll's podcast. He's a lovely guy, but like, his podcast it has a lot of good stuff. I was really enjoying the episode that he put out, and I'm sure it got 1 million trillion downloads, as you know, as some people have, not me, but some people, have that. And so it's a fine podcast. But I was just thinking what my day was leading up to this podcast episode versus what Rich Roll's day. Well, I guarantee you they were different. Like, for example, you guys know that I always do dinner when we record podcast episodes. So we have a couple of my kids' friends at the house. So all 6 kids are here and me and Joe. So that's 8 people. And then we have a couple friends over. So let's say we are now a party of 10. Caitlin normally brings over a party of 5, herself and her 4 kids. And she has 2 guests, which brings us to 7. So for those of you doing the math, how many people did I have to provide dinner for heading into this podcast tonight?
17.
17. Did Rich Roll have to feed 17 people before he went on that podcast episode? And it was because life is crazy and because I'm living a real life with real responsibilities. Also, right before Caitlin got here, Joe did one of these like we need to talk things. And luckily, that one of the nice things about having been a daily talk radio host is that you do learn how to compartmentalize. I don't make people, not hit me with really heavy, deep, and difficult conversations like, 5 minutes before my podcast producer is showing up. And so it was kind of a tough conversation about some stuff that we have to figure out with it was about summer planning, but then it turned into just like, this isn't working and this isn't working. And what does this look like for the fall? And it was one of those, it's not, there are more serious conversations in life, but it was just one of those kind of heavy, like, yeah, that's okay. Like, we have 6 kids and like, okay, this kid has this challenge. That's a really serious challenge. And then this other kid has this other challenge and that's a really serious challenge. And what are we going to do about it? And then it's like, okay, time to be on the air for my podcast. You don't understand my bitterness of like all these podcasts. They're men, their wives are raising their children. They're just like all day, every day. They just sit around and think about themselves. So, and that's good that I've been thinking about this because for the main topic that we will get to later, I think my bitterness is going to add some good fuel to my overarching point for the main topic, which is that it is silly and unreasonable to expect perfect consistency from yourself, because that's what all these, James Clear and Tim Ferriss and Andrew Huberman and all these guys, like Ferriss and Huberman. I'm not sure about James Clear, but I think maybe James Clear. Anyway, they don't even have kids. And so, can you imagine just like prepping your podcast like without feeding 17 people and having conversations about your 6 kids heading into it? So all of this is to say, I'm going to have a lot of passion behind the main subject today. This brings us to the first thing I wanted to mention as we get into our intro topics here. This is such a great life hack that I have recently discovered and has been very helpful. So you guys know that I am very, very, very into Nicole Sachs' JournalSpeak method. You're like, oh my gosh, here she goes again. Don't fast forward yet, because I am not rehashing JournalSpeak. Nicole Sachs, S-A-C-H-S, she has a book called Mind Your Body. You need to read it, get the audiobook, whatever. But you know that is my opinion, that you need to read that book. you know that I'm very into her JournalSpeak method, and I give it credit for basically saving my sanity. What I have found is that there are plenty of people who don't have a personality where writing for 5 hours, as I have actually done. I have actually had a 5-hour JournalSpeak session, and the only reason I stopped is because I got tired. There was actually more to say. I'm not kidding. If you think I'm exaggerating, I am not. I wrote for 5 hours and did not feel like I had said everything I had to say, but I was just tired. I have found to my surprise that not everybody has that personality type. But so what I have done with my family as I've tried to tell them about this method, and they're like, yeah, I mean, and by the way, Nicole Sachs only says you have to do it for 20 minutes. Okay. So that's not like part of the program that you have to be like me. In order to even do the written version, you only have to do 20 minutes of JournalSpeak. But for a lot of people, they just don't feel that visceral need to do it. But what I have found is that using what I learned from JournalSpeak, I have actually been able to really help my family a lot in difficult moments. Caitlin, hit the hot fire practical tip that will change your life sound effect. I guess we should just keep it playing for the whole podcast, because that's like all this podcast literally is. Okay, so I think what's at the core of JournalSpeak is that a lot of times when there is something intense going on, even if we don't immediately register it as intense, it's just for some reason there's been kind of a perfect storm of stress within us. Even if it's not actually the most stressful thing in the world on the surface, it's just our unique flaws, characteristics, unresolved trauma, whatever it is. It's just kind of all coming together, and we're just not feeling good physically or mentally. We're either feeling down, depressed, or you have back pain, or suddenly your shoulder goes out, or whatever. Essentially, what I learned from JournalSpeak is that it is truly amazing what the mind will do to protect you from thoughts that it deems inappropriate. Like, you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't think that, or it's just overwhelmed. So it'll be like, how about some massive back pain to keep you from thinking about that thing that you don't want to think about? And so that's the goal of JournalSpeak, is to just get it out there. Just say it. It's like, I think a good analogy is if your garage has just gotten bad, it's just a whole mess. And if you ever really wanted to do a deep clean, like you hear some animals nesting in there, it's time to get it out. You have to get everything out and take a look at it. And once you can have eyes on everything that was causing this mess, then you can start making decisions like, okay, maybe the camping gear we need to donate, maybe we need to keep this, whatever. But you really can't make those decisions until everything is out on your driveway for you to lay eyes on. That's essentially what JournalSpeak is. It's like, okay, something in there is disturbing you. So we got to get it all out so that you can just lay eyes on it. What are you dealing with here? Okay, so I mentioned that I had a tough conversation with Joe before this podcast episode, and he was feeling unusually stressed. And that's not a normal thing for Joe. You can imagine with my personality type, one of us has to be sane. One of us has to not live an entire Game of Thrones narrative in their mind every hour of every day. So normally he is very even keel, and it kind of caught me off guard that he was feeling kind of stressed about some things. And so I invited him to do kind of verbal JournalSpeak where I said, just talk, and I am not going to interrupt, and I'm not going to try to solve anything. Just like verbal diarrhea, verbal vomit, whatever. It's okay. I could probably come up with that. Let's go back to the garage cleaning analogy. Yeah. And I was like, just dump, like just go. And I'm not going to interrupt you. Just go. So at the end of it, he said, and this was like 10 minutes ago or what, like right before we started this podcast. And I live 1,000 lives every day. He was like, oh, I actually, okay, I feel a lot better. We didn't solve really anything, but it was just that getting all the junk out of the garage so you can say, okay, this is a lot, but now I know what we're dealing with. I have multiple examples of this working. Being the sounding board for someone to do JournalSpeak with you. And I'm telling you guys about this because I think it can really help you, especially with your kids. So, for example, Pammy, who she guest produced this podcast a couple weeks ago, and she's awesome. She's so much fun. She was going on a school trip. They were going to DC, and the day before, she started she was just very upset. She was very, very stressed out. Her mental state was bad. She was in a bad place. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get her to do actual literal sit down with a book JournalSpeak. So what I said is, okay, let's just sit down for a second. I said, before we solve anything, just vent. And I want you to just do rambling stream of consciousness, just everything that is stressing you out. Just keep going and going and going until you feel like you've said what you have to say. And she was off to the races. It was like, I'm out of time. I don't have the right luggage. I don't have matching socks, and my socks are dirty, and we can't, and someone else is using the washing machine. Now here's the key thing. If you are being a sounding board for someone's verbal JournalSpeak, it will be very hard not to jump in. It was terribly hard, especially, you hate to see your kids in mental pain. It's the worst thing in the world. There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than seeing your kids in mental pain. Everything within you is going to scream at you to interrupt, to jump in and say, no, you can use the washing machine. I'll take your siblings' stuff out. Like, it's fine. You've got a trip to go on. Or we do have a suitcase. Your grandmother has like 7 suitcases and she lives 2 miles away. Like, none of this is a real problem. It was tempting to say that, but that's not what a verbal JournalSpeak session is about. It is about, really, it could be, pretend that you're just a cardboard cutout of yourself. That it would almost be better. Like, just put in a cardboard cutout of you so that someone can vent at you. You do not change expressions. You do not say anything. Be a cardboard cutout. It'll be a big challenge for you. And Pammy talked for quite a while. I forget how many minutes it was, but it was a long time. And then when she was done, the relief that I could feel was palpable. It was, and we hadn't solved anything, but just being able, it was the garage clean out. She could now see what she was dealing with. And then her own mind began to solve the problems. She said, yeah, you know what? I should just tell Lucy that I need her to take her clothes out of the washer. And like, I just need it right now so that I have time to dry everything. And she started thinking, she said, I bet Grammy has suitcases, doesn't she? She started solving it once she just got everything out. Let me tell you, her mood on a scale of 1 to 10, when we started, it was a -5. She was in a very bad place. When we ended, she was at like an 8 or a 9. She gave me a big hug. She was so excited about the trip. All that needed to happen was for her to just boom, like just get it all out, just vent. It would be like if you're doing the garage clean out, you don't look at everything carefully, like, oh, here is the old leather jacket that I had. No, it's like you get a shovel and you just throw it out, We're just getting it out. It's like a race, like as fast as you can, get it all out. And yet another example is a friend of mine. We leave messages for each other on the Marco Polo app, and she is to the nth degree not a writing kind of person. It is torture for her to write 2 sentences. She it's just not something she enjoys. So I've gotten her into this as well. And she will even tell me, she'll get on Marco Polo and she will say, okay, this is verbal JournalSpeak. And what we say when we, what that means when we designate a conversation as verbal JournalSpeak is this: I am not going to assume that anything she says is her actual opinion that she wants to stand by. She's just venting. So she could be like, I hate my dog. I wish we'd never gotten my dog. That's not something she actually said. But let's say she's like, I just hate this dog. I can't stand this dog. Because I know that it is a verbal JournalSpeak session, I do not assume that is her actual opinion. She's just venting. She's just getting it all out. And she too has said, wow, it's like, I feel so much better. I just got it out. I got it out. I got all of those blocks, all of those emotions that I was holding back and that was causing me stress. I just got it out and I feel better. So this is yet another hot fire practical tip. I have found it very, very, very helpful in parenting, especially when you see a kid that the stress is building and building and building, and it's like they're kind of at a breaking point. Just tell them, listen, I'm just going to sit here and listen. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to jump in. I'm not going to correct you. I want you to feel free to just go. Like, almost think of it as a contest. How many emotions can you express in the next few minutes? Just keep going. And you would be shocked by how much better they feel. And what I said with Pammy at the end of our session when she was flipping out about the trip is I said, there were definitely some things I wanted to address, that she was worried about certain things that I didn't think she needed to be worried about. But I realized that her own mind had probably started working on some of the solutions. And so I just said, okay, now that you've gotten it all out, what do you want to come back and address? Are there still things that even after this vent session, you are still feeling stressed out about it? And I can help you find solutions to that. And I also asked for permission. I said, can I just jump in with 2 of the things you said and just put your mind at ease that you don't need to worry about those 2 things. But what was interesting is at the end of it, there were really only 1 or 2 problems left of the 15 things she vented out. Once she just got it all out, she was able to say, well, okay, actually, I think it's really only 2 things that are real actual problems that we have to address. And so anyway, this is a practical tip. Use it with your spouse, use it with your friends, use it with your kids, and introduce them to that lexicon. Like, okay, let's do a verbal JournalSpeak session. Maybe not, kids might be a little more resistant to it, but let me tell you, if I can get Joe Fulwiler to do it, any spouses can do it, because he was the biggest skeptic. Like, why is my wife always on her iPad, like frittering away, like writing, And he was like, because he's honest with me. He was like, I really don't see how this is going to be helpful. But then, hit the surprising tangent alert. Okay. If you have listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know that I'm always cold. I'm just always cold. And if you guys have ever like shaken my hand when we meet at an event, you shake my hand, my hands are always cold. It's just a thing. Ever since I started JournalSpeak, like starting about 3 weeks after I started it, which was, I think I started JournalSpeak in October of last year, doing it regularly, my body temperature has risen. And I don't mean hot flashes or like, it's nothing. I can just tell it's not like hormonal, anything like that, because it's just every day, baseline, all the time, every day. And Joe keeps commenting on it. He's like, wow, you feel like a normal person when I touch you. Because for our whole marriage, it's been whenever Joe touches me, I am an ice cube, always. And here's another reason that I know it's not like hormonal or anything like that. When I have been busy, and I go a couple weeks, or maybe I probably don't go that long, but if I go like 7 or 8 days without JournalSpeak, like I did leading up to the launch of my brand new comedy special, Shabby Chic, CHIC, available free on YouTube, like I did leading up to the launch of that special. What's interesting is in the days leading up to the Shabby Chic launch, I started feeling cold again. And Joe was like, wait, what's going on? Your hands are like icy again. And I realized it was because my baseline tension level was back being up high. And also I had longstanding insomnia. And I thought, well, it's like, late 40s, that happens. And no, I started doing JournalSpeak, I sleep totally fine, except for when I stopped doing JournalSpeak. So all of this is to say, whether or not you want to label it as we're doing verbal JournalSpeak, do it with your friends, but especially do it with your kids. I think our kids really need this. And it was just very cool because I was very upset as a mom when I saw how upset Pammy was. It just broke my heart that it's this cool trip. It's so cool that she gets to do it. And she was so upset about everything. And to see her mood go from that -5 to an 8 was just like, it just made my heart sing. It genuinely made me so happy. And then today too, like actually seeing Joe Fulwiler, who is like swayed by nothing ever and is just kind of a mental rock all the time, seeing him go from being kind of stressed and not happy about some larger things, and then once he vented it out, he was like, gosh, I feel quite a bit better, even though the problems are still there. We didn't solve them all, but just getting it all out on the table so that he could lay eyes, so to speak, on what was what's in front of us. So helpful. So try it. I'm telling you, just try it. And just watch how much it changes your life. I just wrote a note. The other thing, big day leading up to this podcast. I mean, again, I live 1,000 lives every day. The other thing was so right after I was done talking to Joe, I checked the Nextdoor app, and you guys, know the Nextdoor. Does everyone have it? Is this a national thing? Do you guys have Nextdoor everywhere? I think they do, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's the app where you fight with your neighbors. You know. So that another thing, some big rattlesnake is on our street and no one has been able to catch it. So that's, Caitlin, watch out. Yeah. See, that's okay. The Nextdoor app in Texas is just snake chat.
Yeah.
It's all we do is talk about what snakes we have found in our yards, what type of snakes are there. And then there are always the people on there, like these immigrants from California will be like one time my husband was talking about how we found a rattlesnake on our front doorstep and it tried to bite my young child who was 6 at the time. The rattlesnake lash out tried to bite him. And so my husband warned the neighbors on Nextdoor, and someone said, they said, did you rehome it? So yeah, he was like, I did. I rehomed it to heaven. Yeah. Yes, I did. I did rehome it. So now it's like, this is my life. It's like big life issues, talking to my husband, feeding 17 people, rattlesnakes, probably right here. Well, the way this podcast, it'll probably be like in the studio somehow. Yeah. There will be like a rattlesnake in the studio. So that is, I just want you guys to know I am living a real life with you, unlike all the other podcasters you listen to. Okay. This is a somewhat random story, but it does segue very well into the main topic. And before I tell you, speaking of my needing blob time and just accepting the cycles of launching something and then realizing I cannot have much expected of me after that time. Episode 93 of the Village Hustle Patreon. I have a couple different Patreon tiers. Village Hustle is one of those tiers. I brought you guys into the day of the launch and then just how I felt in the days afterwards. And it was kind of behind the scenes glance. So patreon.com/thisisjen is where you get on my Patreon and support this fine How Is It Free podcast. See, that's where you make the podcast not free. And you're like, okay, this feels more fair. I should be paying her hundreds of dollars a month, but she gives us this bargain way to support this gem of a podcast. Patreon.com/thisisjen. Okay, now this goes really nicely into the main topic. I want you guys to know that somehow I have ended up on cozy aesthetic social media. Do you ever end up on this?
No,
Caitlin. No, yeah, it's okay. So it's where it's these influencers. They're into. It's like the soft life influencers. We talked about that last year, like living a soft life. They don't have rattlesnakes like outside their doors all the time. So it's soft life. It's cozy life, and it's a lot. It's a lot of making tea. It's never coffee. It's always tea or matcha. That they maybe because you get too wired, because I have a couple coffees and I'm like, so I guess you can't have a cozy life. But a lot of tea brewing. I mean, they're keeping the tea industry in business. Matcha, some smoothies, and it's always a rainy day where they live. And it is always, they always live in these pleasant, climates. It's like they'll walk outside barefoot for a minute. I'm like, I'd be in the hospital if I tried to do that here in Texas. It would be like, oh, I'm getting attacked by fire ants. Oh, that's a scorpion. Oh, the rattlesnake is after me. So we don't have any cozy life influencers here in Austin. We have some survivalists. We have some hunters. Here's how to deal with a wild boar if you find one in your suburban neighborhood. Anyway. The social media algorithms like to present me with lifestyles that I would love to have, but should never try. And so I've just been watching these rainy day tea sipping people. They have no jobs from what I can tell. And they'll, they put on their cozy socks and they sit on the couch and they sip their matcha and they watch the rain, and it does look very cozy. It really does. And actually, I forgot about this. This isn't even the story I'm going to tell you, but one time when I was influenced by cozy life people, I did get some really soft, they're kind of like slippers, but they were socks, and they did have a little bit of the grippy thing on the bottom, but not much. I got them at Five Below, so maybe they're not the best, but so comfortable. And I remember thinking, I was like, okay, I kind of get it. I think I should embrace this cozy life thing. And it was like 2 weeks after my face was paralyzed, when I was at a real low point of my entire life, like actually wearing an eye patch because I couldn't close my right eye, looking like Quasimodo, not knowing if it would heal. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that lore, that I didn't even know if it would get better. Wearing masks on this podcast. You need to look up those episodes if you missed that. It was January, February of 2025. I kid you not, you can't make this stuff up. That right when I was like, you know what? I might not have my face or the ability to close my right eye, but I do have my cozy life aesthetic. And how great that I got these discount cozy socks. They don't have the same grip as like if I'd gotten, Lululemon socks, but they're good. I got them for $4. I fell down the stairs and those socks because did you hear? You guys need to rewind that. Play that back. Caitlin's reaction. I kid you. Caitlin, ask the kids. Totally true story. Totally true story. Because these socks were discount and didn't have as much of the grip on it, and the grip really didn't work that well, I kid you not. I fell on the stairs. I hit my head so hard. I saw it like a flash of light. I hit my head so hard because my feet just went out from under me. And you know what's funny? My first thought was like, maybe it knocked my face into place. I'm not kidding, that once it took me a minute to be able to walk again, but once I could walk, I was like, maybe. And I look in the mirror and it's like, like I still look insane. And now I just have a horrible headache and I just fell down the stairs. So that was my first attempt at cozy life. While I was still sitting and recovering, Joe physically took the socks off of my feet and put them in the trash can. So that was how my first attempt at cozy life worked. Did I not tell you about that? That was like late January. That was the low point of the past decade for me. I mean, that was so bad. So, just thinking maybe it knocked my face into place, and it did not. Okay, so we had a lovely storm go through the other night. Now, actually, I guess one of the unspoken themes here is Texas trying to kill us.
Oh, yeah.
This was not the night when you guys should look up Austin hailstorm. Oh. We got some places it was like 2 feet of hail. Yeah. I saw pictures. I thought it was people in winter in Minnesota. Uh-huh. They had shovels. It was piled up past their knees. I didn't know what I was looking at. And someone said Austin. And I'm like, Austin when? Like when we had that big snowstorm? It was hail. Yeah. It was like 2 feet of hail. It was like killing people. Like it. I don't think it actually killed anyone, but it almost did.
Yeah.
And but you know what? Hey, my glass is half full. Maybe next time we get baseball-sized hail, it will kill the rattlesnakes and scorpions. So that is my Texan cup is half full. Maybe it'll kill the rattlesnakes and scorpions. So this was not the storm that was like tornadoes and massive hail, golf ball. No, it was a baseball sized hail. This was not that storm. It was another one. And this one was just some nice rain. And so I said, I'm going to have this cozy life aesthetic because I do not have pattern recognition. And I keep thinking that I can live the life that I see on social media. I keep thinking that will work for me. Yeah, maybe when I'm 60, I will finally have enough pattern recognition that I'll be like, maybe I shouldn't try it. Okay, so I was like, cozy life aesthetic. This is what I'm going to do. So I made myself a special drink. You guys know I do intermittent sobriety. So I'm in a temporary sober phase. So I got some sparkling water and I added a little bit of flavored soda to it. I squeezed a lime into it. And I imagine myself narrating it like I'm a cozy life influencer. Like I would actually make money if I had an account like that. Like, hey guys, I just wanted to walk you through my rainy day routine. I cannot show you any of my kitchen because it is so trashed. It's unbelievable. So we're going to stay focused on this cup right here. And so I did that. And get this, Caitlin, one of my daughters had just made brownies by pure coincidence. And I was like, God does mean for me to be a cozy life aesthetic girly. That's what they call themselves, like the cozy life girlies. I'm going to be, that's me. So I grabbed one of the brownies and I went upstairs with my drink and I was like, candles. This is what I'll do because Joe was out and I had the room to myself. I made my bed. I do not make my bed every day. So I made my bed nice and tidy. I opened the blinds and it was twilight. It was the end of the evening and a light rain was coming down, flashes of lightning in the distance. And I turned off the overhead light and I was like, I shall light some candles. And okay, so here's, if you sense that something's about to fall apart, this is it. I couldn't find the lighter, but I knew we had one. So I set down the drink and I don't even remember where, because that's when you have a brain like mine, you don't know. I just set it somewhere. And I set the brownie on the bed just quickly because I just have to look for this lighter. And so I go and it's not in the place. Let me tell you this. Having ADHD is like living with mischievous gnomes where they're constantly hiding things from you. And like you look for something and it should be there and it's not there and it just drives you crazy. And it feels like you have a nemesis in the house who is constantly messing with you. And I do have moments of wondering, do I have ADHD or is there actually a little gnome, a little elf in my house who is just trying to ruin my life? Because stuff is never like where I left it and where it should be. And it drives me crazy. So this turned in to this entire narrative of like, well, I put the lighter. I don't even think it was me. This is the cycle of ADHD exasperation that I go through. First, I blame others. I'm like, I'm so sick of these kids taking my lighter. And then I looked at the dresser that it was on. This dresser was so full of clutter. Even if they had wanted to take this lighter, they couldn't have found it. And so first I blame other people in my ADHD cycle of anger. I'm like, I'm so sick of these kids taking the, and then I have a moment where I'm like, okay, it probably wasn't them. If we're being honest, it probably was not the kids. And then I blame the gnomes. There is a supernatural moment in my ADHD cycle of anger where I'm like, it disappeared. It wasn't me. I don't think it was the kids. It disappeared. And then I'm like, God is against me. And I'm not saying it's logical. This is like a JournalSpeak thing. I'm not saying I logically believe that. But it just feels like supernatural forces have made this thing disappear that I'm trying to find. And then I guess the next cycle is acceptance that it was probably me, that it probably wasn't anything supernatural and it probably wasn't other people. So then I start thinking, okay, where would I have put it? And then this led me to this whole journey of exploration and this is why I hate looking for things, because while I'm looking for things, I'm like, oh, this drawer is a mess. This cubby's a mess. Like, oh man, I never unpacked that travel bag. Oh, what is that? I really should have unpacked that. Like, this is moldy. And so I go through this whole thing. And then I'm going in through like, well, should I add it to my to-do list now that I forgot that I have this travel bag and it got put in a drawer. And I have my travel water bottle in here from like 6 months ago. And this is a whole thing. And then I'm like, I should be more organized. And then I'm thinking I need to add some YouTube videos to my watch later playlist that are about organization. So then I'm on YouTube and I'm like, I'm getting organized. This is it for me. I'm being a different person. So I'm on YouTube and I'm dead serious, by the way. As the rain is going outside, I'm adding videos to my watch later playlist about like you can organize your space, blah, blah, blah. And there's more. I mean, there was a lot more actually. But to make it a little more brief, so I did finally find the lighter. Right as I was about to turn into the Joker, I finally found the lighter. And I grabbed it and I lit the candles. And guys, it was so beautiful. And then I couldn't find my drink. And so then that was a whole new journey of where did I put that drink? And it's crazy. Where it was like on a shelf next to a book, but it was like behind this St. Joseph statue, and it's crazy. So that took a while to find the drink. But I look at the candles and I kind of arrange them around the room, and I set the drink down on the bedside table, and like perfectly, like out of a movie. The rain starts coming down harder. And guys, I was actually so excited about my cozy life aesthetic that I jumped in bed like a child. Like I jumped in bed and I'm like, cozy. I'm pulling up the blankets and stuff. Do you hear anything that I forgot that I told you I brought upstairs?
That brownie.
I jumped right on the brownie, which was somehow both gooey and crumbly. Brownie is all over me, and also like it's all over the sheets and everything. And we do have housekeepers coming. You know that I find this to be not a luxury but a necessity. And I'm like, this doesn't look good. This brownie ground into my sheets. This does not look like I'm someone who's doing okay in life with these brown streaks now all over these sheets. But this is how lazy I'm. I was like, I'm not changing the sheets though. I mean, I can't. I haven't changed my sheets in like 10 years. Wait, I don't mean they have not been changed. I mean the housekeepers. Changed them. I'm like, listen, I have not dealt with a fitted sheet in a really long time, and I can't start now. And so I just cleaned it up the best I could. And I was like, one night with it, I can just put something down over it. I don't know what our lovely housekeepers thought when they went to jail. They're like, Dios mío. Like it was not good. So that's how my attempt at being a cozy life aesthetic person went. It's not, because with these other people, it's like they can just get the brownie and the drink and it's done. That's the end of the story. It's done. Their lighter just stays right there and they can light the candles. And there's not the mischievous gnomes stealing things and moving things around all the time. They can just do it and it's fine. So, advice that works for other people doesn't work for me. Is what I'm trying to say. And I need to not try to be like anyone else. Okay. Oh, great. Wonderful. My iPad that has my notes on it froze up. This is good. Fate is against me. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? Why is it never freezes up on me. Okay. Whatever. Well, okay. We'll do this without notes. Main topic is this, and it's related to me not trying to be a cozy life person. There is this idea out there that the best way to live life is to have a robotic mindset, to have an utterly unhuman mindset that assumes that you can and should. There's almost a moral imperative here that assumes that you can and should be perfectly consistent day after day, every day, that this is what you're supposed to do. And there's also an assumption that there are one size fits all solutions for everything. You see this a lot in popular advice culture. It's like, what you need to do, you need to take an ice bath, or you need to blah blah blah. I mean, I even see it with people who are big readers, that you need to read this book and read that book. It's like, okay, not everyone is into reading. That's not everyone's thing. There are other ways to learn and grow and learn about the world. So we are surrounded by those two, I think, very toxic ideas. One, that the way to be a better person and learn and grow, whether it's with meeting your goals, or you see it a lot in spiritual and Christian circles as well, that there's a one size fits all solution. And then the second thing, which is really what I want to focus in on, is the idea that every day should be the same. These people want to posit the idea that the best way to live life is, again, to basically be a robot, where you have some habit that you're going to the gym. Well, you should do it every day, or 5 times a day, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Like we played that video a while back from the guy who was like, that's how you respect yourself, is you do the same thing every day. It's like, oh man, I would not be alive if I subscribe to that worldview. And it works for someone. And actually, that reminds me, I do have a video I want to play, and I have no problem with these people or what they're putting out there. Their names are Brooke Raybould, Raybould is her Instagram account. And I'm not putting this out there for criticism. And if you hear me laughing, I want to be very clear. I am not laughing at them. I am laughing at myself in comparison to them. And so what I want to start with is pointing out that there are some people that do have an extraordinary ability to be consistent. And I will make the case that I don't think that's the norm, and I don't think that we should even aspire for it to be the norm. But when you see videos like the one I'm about to play, it is held up as, this is how we should all try to be. Ideally, in a perfect world, you should have the Raybould's family's perfect routine. And I think Raybould is their last name. She could be Brooke Raybould, but I think it's Raybould. Let's go with Raybould. When we see videos like this, most of us get it in our heads that ideally this is how I should be living. If I were better, I would be living like this. And what I would like to say is, no, that's not true. If you could be the absolute highest, best version of yourself, no, you shouldn't be living like this. No, unless it comes naturally to you, which I think it kind of does to these people. But this is actually not the goal. This is actually not what we should be aspiring to. And again, you will hear me laughing. I'm not laughing at them. I am laughing. I am laughing in comparison how I live my life differently. Go ahead and play it, Caitlin.
And Dad.
To 4 boys, this is our husband, wife, 5 a.m. morning routine.
10 years into parenting, we've developed a 10-step morning routine that's
Okay. Oh, and I should set it up. They are, so they're a couple. And how many kids do they have? 5? I think she's pregnant. I never assumed. No, she's not pregnant. She doesn't look pregnant at all. I think they have 5. So let's go with 5. Some small family thing. Okay, so this is a husband and wife, and their parents. They're parents of a lot of kids, and this is their everyday routine. It's a 10-step routine. Okay, let's take a listen.
Boys, this is our husband, wife, 5 a.m. morning routine.
10 years into parenting, we've developed a 10-step morning routine that's transformed both our marriage and the way we parent. Number 1, we wake up at least 2 hours before our kids. Brian is up at 4:45 a.m. He grabs a coffee and begins to organize his day. I'm up at 5 a.m. shortly after. Then number 2, organization. I make our bed and Ryan unloads the dishwasher. Waking up before the kids gives us control before the demands of parenting take over, and accomplishing tasks sets us on a productive path the rest of the day. 3, quality time. Connecting with each other when it's calm and when our brains are in an alpha wave state allows for a deeper connection. I start my sourdough, something that makes me happy.
What's an alpha wave state? I know about theta state. What's alpha?
Don't know. Never.
Whatever it is. I don't think Joe and I should do it. I mean, we are intense enough already. I mean, let's build a rocket ship and go to the moon. Okay, let's do it. Whatever alpha state is, we should not talk when we're in that state. Okay, go ahead.
and Ryan starts his run. Then 4, I calendar my day. This allows my brain to know what to expect managing my kids and my own schedule. Around 6:15 a.m., I grab an espresso and grab my 4th born baby. Then we never miss a day of 5 exercise. Ryan and I both prioritize fitness before 7. We are better parents after a workout, more energized, calm, and mentally sharp. Wait till later and you risk life getting in the way. Number 6, breakfast and lunch prep. At 7 a.m., breakfast is prepped and usually served, and lunches are made. Usually I do breakfast, but Ryan always handles lunches and always preps the backpacks. Number 7, tidy rooms. Everyone's room is tidied before the day begins. Number 8, I always get myself ready for the day. Starting with a cold shower for dopamine, I do my makeup and get dressed even if I see no one. This creates a boundary event between rest mode and productivity mode. Number 9 is laundry. A load a day keeps the laundry mountain away. Number 10, goodbyes and off to school. And that's how we dominate the morning as a husband-wife team, by having the discipline to wake up early, tackle what needs to be done, and set the tone for the day.
I could do that. Yeah. I could do it. I think with 60 milligrams of daily Adderall and just a little bit of cocaine, I think I could live that life. Absolutely. Just doing. I mean, Caitlin, I know that you and I both get at least 1 load of laundry done before 7 a.m. every day. I know that that's really, and taking a cold shower after all that. I think I'll take a cold shower to just make sure. What was it? It's for dopamine?
Yeah.
Okay. Other people have a different wiring than I do. They talk about, I take my ice plunge cold bath and it gives me dopamine. It does not. It does not. With me, it makes me angry. Yeah. It gives me adrenaline. It makes me want to fight. Like if I ever had to fight anyone, I could take a cold shower. I'm not kidding you. She does more before 8 a.m. than I have done in 5 days. Like easily. Yeah. And that's like, I'm not even kidding. That's like not even to be funny. Like that's just true. Okay. Now, Caitlin, play this next video. I think we got the language bleeped on this one. Call to mind the video you just heard. I came across the most relatable video I've ever seen. If you'd like to know something that's a little closer to my routine, let's listen to this video, which starts at midnight.
Oh, here he go, making coffee. He making coffee. It's after midnight. He making coffee. He about to tweak. Why is you watching videos on stock trading? You ain't never trade in your life. What is you doing, bro? Go to sleep, bro. So 2 in the morning is when you want to pick the guitar back up? 2 in the morning? 2 in the morning, bro? What is you doing? Now he want to get fit. Now he a bodybuilder. Bro, it is 2:47 in the morning. Random wave of depression. Oh, he back. He cleaning his room, y'all. Look at him go. This man can conquer the world as long as it's between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., preferably on a weekday.
Okay, and that guy is Faux Fresh, Faux Fresh is his Instagram. That random wave of depression. So I don't know that I have laughed out loud that loudly at social media as when I saw that. You know what? I'm going to isolate that and we'll make that a sound on the podcast. That random wave of depression. That is me 5 nights a week. We start at midnight and it's like, oh, she's learning the guitar. Oh, she's time to clean the closet. Let's make a life plan. Like I'm like, I need to do a Tony Robbins strategy. And it's like 2:16 a.m. Then we've got random wave of depression. And then we're back. She's back. All right. Now we're learning about classical music. What does she know about Mozart? It's time to find out. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And what I love is I saw that right after the Raybolts video. So it's like we go from like, this is our routine. But we do 10 things before 8 a.m. every day. And I would like to make the case. Okay, so maybe the Faux Fresh video is a little, maybe we shouldn't be living like that every day. But here is the point I want to make, is that there is no precedent in human history, none, zero, for doing the same thing day after day after day and expecting to have the same emotions even. Like, let's look at, let's take if you lived in a village, let's say, I don't know, let's say 6,000 years ago, it's like you would have Oh boy, here's where again my farmer ancestors are rolling over in their graves. But I know a little bit about farming. There's I know homesteaders, the people, they're very trad and they live off the grid, and so I have to hear about their lives on Instagram. They're messing around with filthy animals all the time, and it's so there's like you plant things at a certain you do. Caitlin doesn't know. She's intimidated by the education she's getting on this podcast. You plant things and then you water them and stuff. And then there's harvest. See, I know about harvest. Accurate. Harvest. It is. Oh, and they talk about the harvest moon. Because my husband does a sailing thing and it's like the harvest moon. And I didn't realize it is really like the actual moon, like the one, like that one. It's like because the harvest moon is when you have a full moon in October. And so you can work late into the night. So that's when you're harvesting. So it's like a lot of work during harvest time. And then during the dead of winter, not much is growing. And depending on where you live, the ground is frozen. There's not even that much that you can do. So it's a lot of sitting around during the winter. And then spring comes and then you're putting the seeds in the ground and there's mud everywhere and like whatever. The point is that it's built in to human DNA that you got your sitting around time. And then you've got your really, really hard work time. And that's one thing about, I mean, I don't know what to think about this in terms of exercise, because I do believe that exercise and in particular building muscle is important, especially as we age. If you're over 40, I really do believe that it makes all the difference in just being a just mentally and physically okay person after the age of 40. So I actually believe that. But it is interesting that it's just, we cannot possibly be designed to get the exact same amount of exercise year round, because that was just never a thing. I mean, even if you lived in a tropical climate where you don't have as much the winter and summer, they all have rainy seasons and not rainy seasons. And, when it's pouring rain during monsoon season, or like in Costa Rica, the green season, there's not a whole lot you can do during that time. So that was kind of their equivalent to winter. And I know what you're thinking, because I'm telling you, I'm just tapped into what is relevant to what everyone's thinking about. That's why this podcast gets its 5 weekly views on YouTube. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, what about, agriculture is relatively recent in human history. True. But even when we were hunter-gatherers, like 10,000 years and before, even then there are cyclical times. Like if the main animal that you were hunting went into hibernation, there was a lot less hunting to be done. Even in hunter-gatherer societies, it's very cyclical. There are times when you're working very hard physically, and then there is built-in blob time, usually the winter, or for in tropical climates, maybe monsoon season. But there's built-in blob time. Even nomadic societies, they had times when like they weren't being nomads. They weren't walking around all over the place. So you see this extended into what God gives us in religion. I'll use, just to make it easy, since I'm Catholic and it's the right one, I'll use that for an example. That, when you look at the liturgical year that God gives us, which is based on, it's an extension really of Judaism. So it goes back even further than, it goes back thousands and thousands of years. There are times of celebration. There are times of feasting. There are times when it's just kind of neutral. We have a season, multiple seasons we just call it ordinary time. It's like, it's whatever. It's not, you do what you want. And then there are times of partying, of celebration, of eating more meat, doing the big fancy roast. And then there are other times when you restrict. You don't eat as much meat. You don't cook the roast. You go vegan for a while. I don't know. But the church assumes that you're not experiencing the same things day in and day out. There are times of feasting. There are times of fasting. And the emotional life corresponds to this as well. There are times when you feel amazing. There are times when you don't feel amazing. And it's interesting how the further we get away from God and the further we get away from an agrarian society where people know anything about the seasons, unlike me, the farming expert that I am. Obviously, I'm not an example of this, a real woman of the land over here. The further we get away from that, the more people can get stupid and wrong ideas in their heads, like the idea that the perfect thing to do is have the exact same workout routine every day. Now, again, for the Raybolds, Brooke Raybold, again, I think it's a sweet video, I'm very happy for them with their life. That's awesome, and they can work out every day. And I do think that some people, it's like they have a genetic mutation. I think that some people are genetic mutants and can do that, but they are the exception, not the rule. And it's not normal, and I don't think it's really what any of us should aspire to. Again, if you have that genetic mutation and it is possible for you to consistently 365 days a year get in a strong workout before 8 a.m., then man, we don't have guests on this podcast, but I know you might need to come on the podcast. But that's great. I'm not saying there's inherently anything wrong with it, but I am saying that it is unnatural and that it is not the standard. And a lot of my sweet listeners beat themselves up because they see things like this and they see the genetic mutant freaks. And I say affectionately. It's they're freaks like superheroes are freaks, like the Raybolds, who can do all this and they're just good at it. They're just like good at life, and they can do these kind of things. And they think, if I were a better person, this is what I would be doing. And what I would like to suggest is, no, it's unnatural. It's not normal to have that level of consistency. And I don't think it's something you should aspire to. Here's what I do think you should do. Let's take getting in shape. Okay. So you want to get in shape. I think you should just try. I think you might want to try accepting that there are going to be times when you hit it really hard. And then there are times when you might need to take more of a break. I wish gym memberships offered memberships where it's like you do a sprint where you hit it really hard for 3 weeks and then you take a little time off. Because I think it's just undeniable that the human body kind of expects that. The human body does not expect consistency. Sometimes if you're a tribal person, a big herd of buffalo goes through and the guys are working hard for 3 days, and the women too, processing all the buffaloes that the men killed. It's like everyone is working themselves to the bone, lots and lots and lots of physical activity for 3, 4, 5 days. And then everyone's just getting fat and happy and feasting and, oh no, we're starving again because the herd went away. So, that's what the human body expects. And so I have no data to back this up. But listen, but it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that I was busy dealing with rattlesnakes and serious conversations with my husband, JournalSpeaking with my whole family, and feeding 17 people, that I did not have time to get the data that I am sure is out there. But mark my words, ChatGPT and I are going to have a long conversation about this. And I'm going to get all the data I need, because it has to be. How could it not be right? It has to be right. All of human history, nobody was able to have atomic habits ever. It's just part of my ethos because I have atomic habits that I'm going to kill 1.5 buffaloes every day. That's not how anything works. That's not how it's ever worked. I think I will grow 3 kumquats every day. Do they come from the ground or are they on trees?
I think they're on trees.
Oh, that's so annoying. Okay. I am going to grow 4 carrots every day, and that's my atomic habit. That's not how anything works. It's not how it's supposed to work. That's not the life that God gave us. So what I'm trying to say is that this is very encouraging. I'm telling you, your reaction to this is very encouraging. Can you believe this is me sober, by the way? It's amazing. What I'm trying to say, this is very encouraging to you. If you're the kind of person who has ever jumped into your bed to enjoy a cozy rainy day and only later realized that there was a brownie in it and had your housekeepers deeply concerned about what is going on with you. And by the way, because God absolutely intends for my life to be a sitcom, yes, the brownie was in the exact worst spot in terms of what the housekeepers would think of the sheets. Like, it wasn't like up by my head, like, oh, that must be food. Oh no. It was exactly in the place that would be like, do we need to call 911? What is happening here? So, they're going to like leave boxes of Imodium out for me. So if you have ever had a moment like that, what I'm saying is take comfort in the fact that you probably have trouble being consistent. You probably watch a video like the Rayburns and you're like, not for $1 trillion. Like I couldn't, my brain does not work that way. I could not do it. And what I'm here to say is I think that's really fine. I think that, whatever goal you want to hit, you can roll with the fact that there will be sprints, there will be ebbs and flows. There will be a time when you do a really hard sprint and then you have some blob time. And maybe you should structure your life around that. Maybe you need to do sprints. Maybe, again, let's say you're trying to get back into your jogging routine. Maybe you commit like, all right, 5 days, every day. I don't care. I'm jogging and I do not care. I don't care if we've got a Texas baseball sized hail storm. I will take a piece of steel and I will hold it over myself and I'm going jogging because we're doing this for 5 days. We're doing it. And then you have blob time for a few days. And then you do another, just come hell or high water, I'm doing it sprint. I think that not only is that a legitimate way to live your life and to get things done, I think it is a way more natural way. I think it's much more in line with the liturgical year. I think it is much more in line with just the agrarian calendar, with the the cycles of being close to the land. And I think you guys need to stop feeling any kind of shame about it. And when here's another thing I want to say. When you add on to it the fact that when we're talking about exercise and chores and things like that, that you're not doing it with a village. As I've said before, another thing, all of human history, these things that women did, washing the clothes, mending the clothes, preparing the food. If you look, a few thousand years back and before, women always did it with their community, with their village. So they got all sorts of dopamine payoffs while they were doing the work. I mean, think about this. Like if you're, it was certainly hard to wash all the clothes by hand as women traditionally had to do, or to dismember some animal that was killed in the hunt. But if you could hear some incredibly juicy gossip, like, oh, did you hear what so-and-so, the tribe leader's wife, did you hear what she said? I mean, that's honest. I'd dismember an animal. If I got to hear some amazing gossip, if someone was like, you will not believe what one of your enemies did that was so embarrassing. There's nothing I wouldn't do. I'd be like, yes, fine. I'll skin an animal like wood that's been hunted that we're going to eat. That's fine. And so when you add on the difficulty that you're not doing your exercise, your laundry, your things like that as part of the movement of a community, yet another fine point that we have made here on this podcast is that self-motivation is unnatural, especially when it comes to preparing food, household tasks, mending clothes, washing clothes, things like that. Women traditionally did that together. It was a group activity. And so there's very little motivation required when it's like all of the women are walking down to the river to do the washing and, the mending their clothes while they're down there and whatever. And you will be left alone and possibly be killed by a wild bear if you don't go with them. That's some great built-in motivation. You're doing it. You don't have to, read a motivational book or watch an influencer video to get your butt up and get down to the river with the group. And again, you have conversation, you have information flow. You can ask the one really wise woman who you do the washing next to every day. You can ask her about, what does she think about this crazy thing that your kid is doing? She's an older lady who can give you good advice. So there were all sorts of payoffs. So to take it back to you not feeling guilty, you're already fighting the battle of doing your daily tasks in isolation. You're already fighting the battle of having to self-motivate to do your daily tasks, which the vast majority of your ancestors never had to do. it is difficult to self-motivate. So you're already fighting that battle. And when you add to that the weight of feeling like you should have some kind of perfect consistency and you're not, oh, I said I would do a load of laundry every day. Oh, and I said I would, and now I didn't, and I'm the worst. I want you to just change that mentality. And I want you to take a feasting and fasting, type A time and blob time, like cyclical approach to it. And I want you to think of it like, maybe I do better in sprints. Maybe I do better sprinting through, like, I am going to be the laundry maven for the next 3 days. Every single item in this house will get washed. I'm going to fixate on laundry. I'm going to be obsessed with laundry. And then we'll see what happens after those 3 days and just kind of let it chill. And yes, it'll pile up. Yes, you will have piles of laundry that you wish weren't there. But I think for some of us, that is us killing it. I think that it's a normal, natural way to live, that you don't have the same level of energy and motivation every day. And expecting that of yourself is expecting you to be a robot. It is denying your humanity, and it is denying the natural cycles that God has given us. So to conclude this fine episode, and I need to let you go because you need to go watch Shabby Chic on YouTube. Search for Shabby Chic comedy special on YouTube. In conclusion, don't expect consistency from yourself. Go ahead. From any kind of goal that you're trying to hit, and accept that maybe combining sprints with blob time might actually be what you need to do to get the stuff done that you want to get done in your life. How is this podcast free? Make it not free for yourself. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/thisisjen. And I will be back with you next week here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.